From the bustling capital Riyadh to the world's largest sand desert. While overlanding and traveling Saudi Arabia, there's loads to see. But these two places somehow imprinted themselves in our memory. Two places that couldn't be more different. Riyadh with its glistening modern skyscrapers, and the sheer endless dunes of the Rub al Khali desert.
Since a couple of years, there's a 1,000-kilometer long highway connecting the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with the Sultanate of Oman, crossing the outskirts of the Rub al Khali desert. It is this road we take from the capital through a minor sandstorm to the border in the middle of nowhere.
We're Kamal Nanook and we converted Dakar, our 4x4 Mitsubishi Pajero, into a camper. After finishing high school, we set off on a journey, headed to the Middle East. And after 5 months on the road, we reach Riyadh, and are directly engulfed by the crazy traffic of this metropolis.
To be honest, we completely underestimate the sheer size of this city. Riyadh has about 7.5 million inhabitants. For scale, Berlin has only 3.6 million inhabitants. One huge difference being, Berlin has fully functioning public transport. Riyadh has none. So you can imagine how crowded the roads are. We've never experienced traffic like that before. In Europe, people think in lanes, changing from one lane to another, whereas here people think in available space. If there's room for one more car, then the opportunity to squeeze in is seized. But also the road layout sometimes requires a more flexible way of thinking and driving. U-turns on the highway and parking in the middle of roundabouts are no problem. We slowly get used to this open-minded style and even start to enjoy it. What we really don't like is how distracted many people drive. 80% are constantly on the phone, which makes driving really dangerous in some circumstances.
We have a few things that need doing. On our way to Riyadh, we had a little stone chip in our windscreen, so we are now looking for a workshop to repair it. Luckily, once you're in the right quarter, people refer you to the right street, and finally the specific shop you're looking for. It just takes some asking around. So after some searching, we're standing in a tiny workshop, specialized in repairing windscreens. After a warm welcome, the owner sets about working. Within half an hour, some pleasantries and selfies later, we are ready to go again.
Yay! We've got it repaired!
Next on our list, laundry. Finding self-service places can be very difficult, as most laundries are intended for the white Thorpe robes and charge per piece. But here in Riyadh we do find a self-service laundry and just have to wait for the machines to finish.
Now we're free to explore the city. We decide to visit the iconic Kingdom Tower, aka the bottle opener of Riyadh, and enjoy the view over this gigantic metropolis. We also have a stroll through the Kingdom Center Mall, below the tower, and admire all the expensive boutiques.
We have a look at the historic center and the Masmak fortress. Located right beside the fortress is the Al Safat Square, also known as Chop Chop Square. Only until a couple of years ago, public executions by decapitation were held here, a gruesome thought. In the evening we drive to Boulevard City, the nightlife center for Riyadh. The quarter is very much USA themed, from the fast food to the entertainment choices, and even has its own Times Square.
Our style of traveling isn't really made for cities, and soon we feel the urge to escape into the desert again. We head out to the so-called Edge of the World, a huge cliff in the desert not far from Riyadh, which makes it a popular day trip. Officially, you're not allowed to drive to the cliff anymore, but here in the Middle East, signs are more suggestion than a hard rule. If you're still able to drive there, then nothing is stopping you. In the beginning, we had our difficulties deciding when to take prohibitive signs seriously and when they can be safely ignored.
A few kilometers off-road and we find a spectacular place to camp. But before we enjoy the view, we quickly leveled our car, which has become a daily routine for us. Later on we cook dinner and then finally take in the wonderful view from up here.
We really liked the deserts through which we drove on our way to Riyadh, but they were mostly Hamada Desert, which means stony and rocky deserts.
We've been looking forward to the Rub al Khali ever since we decided to drive to Oman. The 1,000-kilometer long highway to the border was only completed in September of 2021 and is the sole link between Oman and Saudi Arabia. Before they built the desert highway, you had to drive through the United Arab Emirates, which is quite a lengthy diversion.
We stop in the last town to stock up on food and water. Even these small towns have relatively big supermarkets, which are well stocked. You can find everything you need for day-to-day life and for camping.
Overnight the wind picks up, and after asking a few lorry drivers the next day whether it's safe to drive the highway, we set off into the mild sandstorm.
At first, the road seems to lead endlessly straight through sandy gravel desert. The wind howls around Dakar and waves of sand splash against the bonnet. Outside our windows, the sand along the road collects in bigger and bigger mounds, and slowly piles up to towering dunes.
We drive for a couple of hours. Outside the air is filled with sand and dust, so much so that we can't leave Dakar.
Parallel to the highway is the abandoned small road which led to the oil rigs. Here we find us a place to stay the night.
In the morning we are greeted by the scorching sun and not an airborne grain of sand in sight. For the first time we can step outside onto the sand and admire the beautiful endless dunes.
The golden Rub al Khali Desert is one of the most remote and unexplored regions on our blue planet. Its hostile and harsh environment makes research and surpassing almost impossible. Temperatures of over 50 degrees during daytime and minus 10 degrees at night are no exception. The desert highway feels like a lifeline through this otherwise lifeless landscape connecting Saudi Arabia and Oman. All too soon we continue driving over enormous sand hills and valleys. We enjoy watching the landscape pass by. Many scenes of the sci-fi movies Dune were filmed in the Rub al Khali desert. The name Rub al Khali means empty quarter in Arabic. One would think that the desert is empty, but on the contrary. The road slopes down to dried out mineral lake beds, just to rise back up again in the next moment, revealing an ocean of towering dunes as far as the eye can see. Every now and then we can get glimpses of oil industry in the distance. Under the surface of this enormous desert lies one of the world's largest oil fields. Oil exploration works in the Rub al Khali basin started in the 1950s and continue until this day. Here, the black gold of the Middle East seems to just wait under the sand-covered surface to be discovered.
After some hours, we reach one of the few petrol stations along the highway and refuel. Our consumption is higher than usual due to the strong headwinds of the day before. A short while later, we reach the Saudi-Oman border, built in the middle of nowhere. We were told that the border officials work in 2-week shifts. Driving home more often than that doesn't make sense with these distances. We fuel up one last time. Fuel prices in Oman will be much higher than here in Saudi. We start to tidy up in Dakar. We always do so when crossing borders. Before heading to the border gates, we eat lunch and are accompanied by a little orange cat that seems to live here at the border post in the middle of the desert.
Oh! Und, riecht's nach einer Katze? Wir waren keine Katzen mehr drin, ne? Ja, du!
The border crossing is easy, and within a short while we leave Saudi and enter the Sultanate of Oman.
Oman turns out to be one of our favorite countries on this journey. White beaches with crystal clear blue water, tropical fruits in the south and stunning wild animals. Our time here is one of its own and feels a little like arriving at our journey's destination. We're already excited to show you more of our time in Oman. See you soon!